you're talking to parents that have young kids. Like, sum it up. What's the most important thing that we can do with our young kids right now to set them on the best track?
This might be too much, but
The Get There is a podcast about the journey behind the jersey, the unseen years before the scholarships, the rankings, and the bright lights. In each episode, we sit down with the parents and coaches who walked alongside exceptional athletes as they grew from white-eyed kids into disciplined, top 3% Division I competitors. These are the people who showed up early, stayed late, made hard choices, and quietly shaped greatness long before the world was watching. Through honest conversations, our guests share the strategies that work, the struggles that tested them, and the unique perspective of watching potential slowly turn into performance. We talk about belief and boundaries, pressure and patience, setbacks and resilience. Whether you're a parent, a coach, or anyone invested in long-term growth, the Get There explores what it truly takes to support an athlete, not just to win, but to become.
hi, I'm John Moeaki. I'm the father of 4 kids, Alexis, Taylor, Noah, and Leah. But Taylor, my daughter, second daughter, she was the Gatorade Player of the Year. She was also Ms. Basketball at American Fork High School, played basketball, and then she went on to play at Utah Tech there. And then my son Noah, he also played at American Fork. He played football and basketball in high school, but he's currently a tight end on the BYU football team. And I also played football at BYU back in the early 90s, finishing in 94. So I'm glad to be here.
You brought up an interesting thing, and I always wonder, I mean, the rivalry is pretty vile amongst the fans.
Right.
But the players are all buds, dude.
They're all friends.
They all grew up together.
Especially the Polynesians.
Yeah.
Because lots of them played together in high school.
Yeah.
And then, you split up, but you're still lifelong friends.
Yeah.
And your parents are friends.
Well, and like at some point, I mean, God, it's just a flipping game.
Yeah.
It's just a game.
Yeah.
I'm here with John Moeaki. Played for BYU in '94.
Yeah.
Had the pleasure of playing with Kalani Sitake, the head coach, the current head coach.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later a little bit. But you got a couple kids, Noah, who's currently a tight end for BYU, and your daughter Taylor was the Deseret News Miss Basketball back in 2017. She played over at Utah Tech for a little while.
Yeah.
So thanks for being with me.
Yeah,
thanks for coming and chatting with us, and we're just excited to talk about your life a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. Excited.
And I'm excited to talk about your kids and your experience with them, but I'd actually like to jump back and talk about you and your siblings and your mom and dad a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
You have, what'd you tell us? You had 4 siblings that ended up playing D1.
Yes. 4 of us. 4, including me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That ended up playing D1. Yeah. So, were mom and dad athletes?
No, they were athletes, but really it was my dad. My dad was a big rugby player.
Okay.
Grew up playing rugby in Tonga, and then went to BYU Hawaii. Played on the rugby team at BYU Hawaii back in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
But it was, according to him, was a great player. No, but he's got a lot of black and white pictures. Him holding trophies and team pictures and stuff like that. So, and I've heard from his friends that I've run into that he was quite a good rugby player.
Cool.
But so we can get So growing up, we always thought we got our athletic ability from him. But then now we're seeing a lot of my mom's side of the family, like Louis and Stanley Havili and people like that, or even that Dallas Vakalahi, who's at Penn State. His mom's my first cousin. All on my mom's side. So now that we're older, we're all thinking maybe it came from my mom's side.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and it's an interesting thing to consider, and we kind of mentioned it briefly earlier, but like you kind of have these like, I don't know what the term, like you have like these legacy families that just seem to develop a lot of high-level athletic talent. And so the debate that I would have in my own head is like, okay, like these guys just born with it?
Right.
Is it because every family party turns into a football game and it's the most competitive sporting event of the year?
Yeah.
Is dad putting together a training program for you guys and a regimen and all these things that force you down that path? Is it just the culture of it? Like what do you think your parents did, or did they? Did your parents approach you kids and go, look, we're going to be athletes, and you guys are all going to college on scholarships or else? What was it like when you were younger?
Actually, it wasn't really that much pressure or anything like that, anything said. We all just kind of excelled just naturally in sports, and that's kind of what drew us to it. But there was never really a discussion or even a conversation about, okay, this is your path to college, and this is the only way you're going to be able to pay for college or whatever. You hear that kind of stuff. It was just, man, you're doing well with basketball. You want to play again next year? I'm like, yeah, or football or whatever. And then it was, I really enjoy doing this. I want to keep doing it. And then they were just supportive of, okay, well, let us know. But they were immigrants from Tonga. First, from the island. They grew up there. So they didn't really know how to navigate, they didn't know how things worked, especially just college camps and trainings or anything. And plus, it wasn't that big a deal back then. Back then, you would just pretty much, in my generation, I'm older than you, you just played the sport of your season.
Yeah.
And then in the summers, you would just wake up and you might play basketball that day or football or both and swim and do all that kind of stuff. And it wasn't really specialized. None of my friends growing up were specialized in a sport yet, as you'll see now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I sound like a boomer when I say that, but we really just played every sport. And it just worked out.
It's
all my friends.
Specialization is just such a hot topic right now, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that I have young kids, and some of their experience is already like, look, if you're not thinking that this is going to be your sport, like, maybe we can have a conversation about it. And I'm like, man, I just think that they should play and have and be as competitive, but have a good time. So,
but it's easy to say that, but then you are going against somebody that is specialized. 100%. And then you're like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I need to put in more time because my child is not as skilled as this child.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, that's what you want, but then what you see others doing that are specializing is what puts the pressure on, like, oh, are we doing it wrong?
Yep.
So maybe we need to put in more time in this and cut this other thing out.
Yeah, it seems like everybody, and I guess I'm talking like, there's just a lot of social media.
Yeah.
Professionals, former professionals, coaches talking, and it seems like the fellas online all say a multi-sport approach is the proper approach until the kids are older. And everybody seems to be saying that, but then when it comes down to the individual coach, a lot of high school coaches that I've talked with, or players of high school coaches, and sometimes even younger, are saying, "God, we want the kids that just want to focus on this sport."
Right.
It makes the coach's life a heck of a lot easier.
Exactly, that's what it is, I think.
Well, and jury's out. I don't think we've seen a generation of the specialization thing, I think, is newer. I don't think any of those kids are hitting colleges yet. So we'll find out. We'll find out. Maybe all these, maybe the athletics and all these sports are all of a sudden going to take a next step, and you're going to see better, more fine-tuned athletes because the dudes jumped in and focused on it.
I think you kind of already see it, like when you watch college sports or even NFL sports, they're way more skilled. Even in the NBA.
No, dude. The BYU Cougars of '94 was as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets.
But you can see, I mean, the players today are so skilled, and you can tell it's just hours in the gym. But there's arguments for both. I can totally see it. I have stories about both with my kids. Like Taylor, my daughter Taylor, she was Gatorade Player of the Year here in basketball. and but she was a really good soccer player, also really good soccer player, maybe like one of the best soccer players her age, and then one of the best basketball players in her age. Like as she was getting older and older, but what we were seeing is when she was in basketball, she was playing basketball, and then she'd go switch over and play like basically 6 months of soccer, and then when that was over, she'd come over. But the gap, she was like head and shoulders over better than most girls her age in both sports. But what we were seeing is when we'd come back to basketball, for example, after the 6 months, this gap was smaller because there's these girls that were playing year round. And then, okay, the gap's gotten smaller, but she was still better. And then we'd go to soccer, and then the girls have all caught up. Their touches were better. And then, so doing that back and forth, we could see the gap closing. And lots of times we thought, and it was the skill part we could notice. Like, man, that girl has gotten a lot better in the last 6 months than I remember her. And then switching sports. But we just left it up to her. We didn't want to tell her to pick. And so her freshman year she just came to us because we
high school,
okay, and said, I just want to play basketball. I think we never actually have ever had a conversation about it, but I think she could see the difference also herself. But we are grateful that we let her decide, and it was her decision. That she gave up soccer. Because like I said, she was a very good soccer player, but she made the decision, so there was never like hard feelings towards us about making her pick.
That's super interesting. And I told you earlier, my kids are young, so.
Can I share one more story about that?
Yeah.
With Noah. So Noah played basketball all growing up at a high level, and but then when he got into high school, he started playing football. And actually, for most of his football career in high school, he was ranked as in the top 10 in the state in football.
He didn't play Little League football?
No.
He didn't play Little League football at all?
Yeah. He went out his 8th grade year and broke his ankle his second game. And then that was it. So really, it was high school.
He started as a freshman or sophomore?
As a freshman. But it didn't start on the football team.
Sure, but yeah.
Yeah, but I started playing football really as his freshman year. And played both sports at American Fork all 4 years, but started on the basketball team as a freshman. And they won the state championship, but he was their starting point guard as a freshman, and they won state. But it was from basketball. So March, they win the state championship, and right after the state championship game, Utah State, Utah, and BYU all offer it in football because of the way they saw him play basketball. And that's what they all told us. I mean, he played on the varsity football team that year, but it was just like on special teams and would get just, there was no football film for him to get offers in football.
So they just saw an athlete. They said, we can take this guy and we'll figure it out.
It was that. It was, well, we like the way this kid moves playing basketball, and we can see it. Plus, I think this is my own theory, and this is what they said. They said, they came over and they were like, Noah, you're tonguing. We know, you know you're not going to be 6'9", you're a football player playing basketball. We know that you're going to be 6'3", 240, 250 pounds. You're a football player. As a freshman, they were already saying that, but he was skinny. He was. I think his freshman year was 180 pounds, 6'2", 180 pounds. But they already know, like, just around here in Utah, it's like, no, you're kidding yourself.
I don't. That's funny. I have said similar thing. I didn't play basketball growing up. I like it. My son they're really excited, and we're just playing the rec stuff. But I kind of look at him. I'm like, man, like if you have my genetics, like best case scenario, I got a brother that's 6'6". But anyway, as a best case scenario, you're like 6'3", and that's short. That is short for a freaking basketball player. So, dude, let's see if we should do something else. But for him, actually, I saw, and again, my kids are super young. We're just barely starting all this stuff. But like his first couple games, he was just pretty rough at basketball. And I sat him down one day and I was like, man, like, I know it's not a contact sport, but it is a sport of aggression.
Right.
Like, you've really got to go in there and get in there and do it. And so he did it one day. He got super aggressive and got a bunch of rebounds and started playing differently. And I immediately saw his confidence in baseball increase. It was immediate.
Wow.
And it was right then, I just thought, man, I don't know how long he'll play basketball for, and if he falls in love with it, fantastic, but he can play as long as he wants to play for.
Yeah.
Because it just had a tremendous impact on his on-field presence and his confidence level as a baseball player. So that's my own little very early story about, I don't know, specialization or not, but that's interesting about, really interesting about Noah. It's incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, it was, that offer gave him a lot of confidence. So, like I said, he really didn't have that much experience playing football, but he didn't even start as a freshman on the football team.
Right.
But from basketball, but now he gets his offer, and now he thinks, oh man, I must be good at football. So then immediately his sophomore year at American Fork, and this is, they're 6A. His sophomore year, his sophomore year he started both ways, tight end and outside linebacker.
Yeah.
But a lot of just all of a sudden he just felt like he belonged and that this was his sport, and so that offer gave him. That's what confidence will do. It's just like, oh, okay, well, I guess this is the thing.
Somebody believes in me.
Yeah. So I must have something that other people are seeing. So that just gave him a lot of confidence, and he just kind of bloomed from there.
Oh man!
Really, from that offer.
Yeah, so I didn't know. I had no idea that was his path. I think I don't know if stigma's the right word, but I think the general public watches these kids play this sport, and we sit back on our couch and we're analyzing, and of course, we're super critical because we're all like armchair quarterbacks and coaches, and we sit there and we go, well, that kid's been a tight end since he was 6. And that's been his sport from day one. And I mean, I think that story for me personally, man, it really I told you earlier, I don't need my kids to play D1. That's not the goal. That's not my purpose. But it's got to give a regular guy a lot of hope.
Yeah.
To go, holy cow, like this dude. What I'm wrestling with right now personally is I got a 10-year-old that wants to start playing tackle football. He loves playing flag football. Flag football, in my opinion, is like the funnest sport a kid will ever play. It is only fun. It is not hard work. You do not practices like playing recess.
Yeah, everybody's a receiver.
Yeah. And my little boy gets to throw the ball a lot, and so he feels excited about that. And I'm like, brother, you will not be the quarterback on your tackle football team. You will not like two-a-days. You will not like pads. You will not like stingers. You will not like stubbing your finger. Yeah. Like, there's a whole lot that you won't like. And I'm not against tackle football. I'd love for him to play it, but I'm just kind of trying to figure out when, the right time, and if there is a right time, whatever. There's a lot of debate, but
almost all my former teammates in college, almost all of them that I talk to don't have their kids playing Little League football. Almost all of them that I've talked to will start their son in 7th or 8th grade.
Really?
Yeah, almost all of them. I can't even think of a teammate that I've had that had started his kid playing younger than 7th grade. Huh. And really, the reason we put him in an 8th grade, my son, and talking to my teammates, was just so he wouldn't be embarrassed showing up 9th grade football and not know how to put on his shoulder pads and like how to put on his football pants. So it was like, you better let's just put you in so that you can kind of get the feel for it. You have expressed interest in playing football, and so let's just have you let's put you in an 8th grade, and just for you to figure it out, like how the simple things are, and then at least you won't be starting at 0 in your 9th grade year. Yeah. But then he broke his ankle, and so then.
Did that discourage him, or was he like, we'll figure it out?
No. It didn't discourage him at all. The only thing he was discouraged about was that it would affect his basketball season. Yeah. He was a basketball player growing up. Yeah. So he was am I going to be healed for basketball season? Yeah. It was his biggest worry, but it didn't discourage him at all.
Were there ever any? Well, I want to approach this a couple different ways. Were there ever any? It sounds like you didn't. So you didn't grow up in a high pressure home. Mom and dad were like, sports are great.
Yeah.
If you play them, cool.
Yeah. No yelling at me
if
after
you
the
play
game
them at a high level. Really?
Like that. No.
Shoot, man, I gotta change. Okay.
My dad really never ever criticized me after a football game or a practice or anything like that. That's not saying I didn't.
Yeah.
But my dad didn't.
So what? Either of your kids, was there ever a moment or moments where they're just struggling, or they're facing adversity, or their spot was given away to another kid, or? I'm talking about, like, as a parent, you're dealing with coaching your son or daughter through failure.
Yeah. Really, in basketball, so his basketball career was in high school was pretty storybook. He just started all 4 years, won a couple state championships, and but as far as failure, he started playing competitive basketball in 3rd grade.
Okay.
But in 5th grade and 6th grade, there were some, he always played up one level. He always played up one level. We can talk about that kind of stuff. But I remember he was in 5th grade playing with all the 6th grade players, but playing with the best 6th grade players in the state. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, this group of parents decided to make kind of an elite 6th grade team, and he didn't get picked to play on this elite 6th grade team, even though he was playing up. And I remember we were both kind of like had our feelings hurt a little bit, like, I guess we didn't, but we play with these guys all the time. Some of them were on the team that we played with, and then on some other teams that we played with. But that was really, I remember at a young age, that was difficult for him. But a trying moment for him was in 3rd grade. I know it's kind of young, but if I can share this story, it was really telling about Noah, and just his mindset was. In 3rd grade, we were on a team, and we're doing pretty good, and I get a phone call from a guy, a stranger. I remember I was in the gym, church gym, working out my kids in basketball, and I got a call, and it was this guy, and he's a stranger, and he calls me, and he says, hey, is this John? I said, yeah. And he introduces himself, and he says, hey, I'm a coach of a 3rd grade team in California, and I'm I have a team that's going to play in the Martin Luther King tournament in a couple weeks. This is like in December, in the Martin Luther King, was it January or February or something? But anyways, would your son be willing to come and play with us? And I said, oh my gosh, like in California? And he said, yeah. How did you get my name? And then he said, well, I ran into and he's in charge of the top AAU team kind of organization here in Utah. His name is Tim Davis. But he said, I ran into Tim Davis at a basketball tournament, and I asked him, I said, who's the best 3rd grader in Utah? And he gave me your name to call. Wow. So so I'm like, oh, okay, I appreciate it. And he says, we'll fly you down, your family down. We'll pay for a rental car. We'll pay for your hotel, everything, if you guys agree to come and play on this team with us in California. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, let me go home and talk to my wife about it. But this is, okay, like, wow. So I go home, I talk to my wife, and she says, if you and Noah want to go, you guys can go, but I'm fine with it. So he calls me back on Monday. He's like, hey, what do you think? And I said, yeah, I think Noah and I will fly down and see and play with you. And he said, okay, how many tickets do you need? I said, just me and Noah, 2. Oh, you don't need tickets for your whole family? I was like, no, it'll just be us. He was about to fly my whole family down. This is 3rd grade basketball. Yeah. But at this point, Noah thinks and I think he's pretty good because he's in Utah and he's like one of the best. We go down and we play on this team. We fly down. He has everything, rental car, hotel, everything paid for. And we play on this team, and it was so eye-opening for Noah and I because we go, and he's not even the best player on his team. He's like the third best player on his team. And then we play other teams, and almost every team has at least two players that are better than Noah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time I'm seeing like seventh graders dunking the ball, and eighth graders dunking the ball, and like in the games. And up to this point, I would have said that it was impossible for a seventh grader to be dunking the ball in my head. But I go and I see it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just like this huge basketball tournament. And I come back, but my point is, when Noah realizes that he's not even the best player on his team, where he's been probably the best or one of the best in the state, he came back and he didn't see that as like deflating. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not the best. Like, I don't want to play. I want to play a different sport. He came back and it was like, oh my gosh, Dad, like I have so much work to do. Like I thought I was here, I'm really here. And for him to see it with his own eyes, he was like, I know this is possible because I've seen it. So he was like super motivated after going and seeing that, where a lot of kids would have been like, there's no way, maybe I should play a different sport. I'm done. And so he came back extra driven because he saw these kids that were, and actually the kid on our team that was, his dad called me. He's in the NBA now. It's Jared McCain. He played at Duke 1 year and then got drafted. I think he's on Oklahoma City. But we were playing with Jared McCain as a third grader.
Jeepers.
As a third, but you could, when I said he was the third best player, no, Jaron was the best player on the team. You could see it as a third grader.
Yeah.
He was so skilled and everything.
The response to that is interesting because I think I shared the story with you earlier. It was like,
could go either way.
So yeah, if something like that happened to me in third grade, I think I would just be like, yeah, I guess I should just quit. It's like, someone's better than me. I guess that's it. We'll just hang it up. But so full circle, you look at it and the coaches at BYU tell you he's getting an offer because they saw how good he was at basketball.
Yeah. They actually didn't even see him play football.
Yeah. So I mean,
he's from basketball.
That's really interesting. That's really cool. Well, and I mean, those are the type of stories that I think, like, you try to inspire my own loved ones with. It's like, man, like, it's okay that you're it's okay that you're the 10th best hitter on your team at you're 8. So like, we'll figure this out. You know, you're plenty athletic. You're super young.
You know, the hard thing is, like when you brought up being the 10th player on the team, is you'll see, and you've probably seen the politics and the parents. Nobody's arguing about Billy, who's clearly the best player on the team. So the politics don't really affect Billy. The politics, like let's just use basketball for example. The politics really affect the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th best playing kid, because the difference between those kids is really minimal. There's really nothing. It could just be because it's like, well, this kid is a better rebounder. We need rebounding, but this kid is a better shooter, or this kid is a better defender, or this kid has a better attitude, or whatever. But really, the politics are really what you'll see is really involved with the borderline, like in basketball, for example, the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th best player. Nobody's arguing the one kid that everyone's like, okay, nobody's arguing with that kid, and nobody's arguing about LeBron James, like everyone's arguing, and the politics and drama all affect really the borderline positions.
So, and I don't want to indict, you or any of your kids or any of your experiences, but like my kids are all young, so I haven't, and everyone tells me, just wait till you get to high school. Oh, wait till you get. How do you navigate this stuff? Like, what are we doing? Is it just work ethic? You just tell your kid to suck it up and get back to work and go prove himself, or what are we doing?
One thing I concentrated on, but through trial and error, was, I may have made a mistake with maybe my older kids, and then I learned was, and I keep going back to basketball but just as an example, but my older ones, I thought more games, just play tons of games, games. That's going to be better. But after really my first one, I realized it's not the games are important, but not that important at a young age. Plus the time, it's just being efficient with your time.
Yeah.
If you're on a team, like just one game, for example, Little League game, you're going to leave the house an hour before the game because you got to get there early. You got to travel. You got to get there early and the warm up. So let's just say an hour for the game, and then the travel. So let's just say it's 3 hours for one game, and your kid might shoot the ball 8 times or 10 times, and might dribble the ball 15. And like I don't know, but just like it's very
touches,
limited,
right? Limited touches. Yeah.
Well, what I figured out real early was, geez, instead of 3 hours, what if we just spent 2 hours in the gym and they could get up 300 shots?
Yeah.
They could dribble
1,000
times.
Yeah.
And we could do these drills 1,000, not 1,000, but hundreds of times. Yeah. And then as a cumulative effect over a season, just think of how many more shots and dribbling and drills you could do over a season by cutting out, instead of 3 teams, you've cutting it down to one team or 2 teams maybe, and then spending those 3 hours of all those games in the gym with all those different reps. And so really, as my kids got younger, it was less teams and more time in the gym or in practicing. Quality versus quantity was something I learned that I think made a big deal. So your kids are going to be skilled. And maybe I had an event, they were already athletic, but lots of times the Polynesian, especially kids, you're going to get the athletic, raw kids versus the, I don't want this to sound racist, but versus like maybe here in Utah, the white kids who aren't, maybe some of them aren't as athletic, but are way more skilled because they have the money and the resources to have trainers and whatever. So in general, I've seen it like, and it still plays out now. You see, it's really common for a Polynesian kid from a lower affluent kind of circumstance to be athletic and raw versus the more affluent kids who are maybe less athletic in size but more skilled. So that was always the kind of what I've seen here in Utah. Yeah. And other places. I mean, I went to high school in Chicago. You see the inner city kids versus the suburb kids, and it's kind of the same kind of dynamic in general. Yeah. And what I was thinking with my kids was like, well, what if my kids are more athletic and as skilled or more skilled?
So was that how were you pretty heavily involved, like outside of the structured sporting events, practice and whatnot? Were you pretty involved in their development?
I coached them at a young age.
Okay.
And we would spend hours and hours in the gym with skill. Yeah. And like I said, I cut down basketball teams and made it more about time in the gym. Yeah. More skill. Yeah. Because like I said, the games are great, and I'm not saying to cut them out, but you have very limited touches in a game.
I'm laughing because I just got back from a tournament. I just got back from a tournament weekend. Both my sons played in the same city. Yeah. Out of state, baseball. And cumulatively, edit that. Can you fix that? Just kidding. All together, they played 9 games. Yep, 9 games over 2 days. And if outside of warm-ups, if they touched the baseball 20 times between the 2 of them, I'd be surprised. Right. Yeah. And they're both playing infield positions, and they're both outside. My one son pitched, so take that out. He touched the baseball a bunch. But the point stands. How many ground balls did they get hit? I think 2. Yeah. and so I hear that loud and clear.
Yeah.
The tournaments are a lot of fun. The games are a lot of fun. The kids, they like to win.
Yeah.
They like to make plays. They like to be
important.
there doing that.
Yeah.
It is very important. But there's a lot of buzz around that topic too right now. And I can only speak from, the only comp sport that my kids are playing right now is baseball, so I can only speak to that. But there's a lot of former professional baseball players talking about the difference between practice and games, and how for some reason there's a huge social pressure to stack on games, when it's like the dudes in South America, those guys practice 7 times for every game they play.
Yeah.
And in America, if we practice once a week,
Right.
And we play 2 or 3 games, like that's a ton of baseball. So again, I'm not condemning anybody or saying one of the primary reasons why I started this whole journey was because I was like, man, I don't have a clue what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to do this. And I want my kids to experience the healthiest version of youth athletics as I can provide for them. And so, but that's, as a father, I think kind of to my assumption is like a lot of these kids that have an opportunity to play at really high levels, and I'm talking like post high school.
Yeah.
My assumption is that they all had a pretty supportive and somewhat structured environment at home.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm only a few interviews deep into my own little personal journey here with this show, but that's what I'm finding.
Yeah.
In every conversation. It's dude, it became a family event. We were at the gym, we were working, we were training, we were at the park, we were exercising, it was fitness, and so on the phone, you made a comment. You said, there's not a shortage of 6'3", 245-pound Polynesian kids locally, right?
Yeah.
So what's the separate? Is that it? Is the separation training and skill and that, or what's your opinion on that?
It's a really it's a question I've thought about a lot and have had a lot of good discussions with people, because it also ties to this kind of socioeconomic deal that's going on. Is in general, all the best high schools in general in Utah athletically are on the east side.
Okay.
And in general, the schools on the west side struggle. And why is that? But one thing you can see in general are the more affluent schools are on the east side, even in Utah County, let's say in Salt Lake. So it's complicated, but I think there's got to be something tied to the resources that the east side has, or the more affluent schools, than the lack of resources on the west side. For example, I have some good friends that are part of coaching staffs at both Utah and at BYU. Mm-hmm. And we'll go to like a mission farewell or homecoming of one of my cousins or something, or of a mutual friend, but of family, let's say on the west side.
Yeah.
We'll go to and it's happened multiple times where you'll see the deacons or whoever get up to pass the sacrament.
The 12-year-olds.
And so many times I'll be sitting with some staff members on both sides, and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, like, who's that kid? I've never seen that kid." And it's just, you see this like 6'4", not maybe 6'2", 6'3", 220-pound 13-year-old, standing, and all these coaches are like, "Who is that kid?"
Yeah.
Like, wow, look at that kid, and he's 13. But time after time, and these coaches are saying, why haven't we seen these kids? Why haven't we seen this kid? Why do I not know about this kid? It's like, well, guess what? In the summer, he can't go to the camps or the practice or these tournaments because he's at home babysitting his younger siblings,
Mm-hmm.
or he doesn't have a ride, or his parents who are immigrants maybe don't know that they were supposed to sign them up for this camp or this team, or even like junior jazz, for example. There's a lot of times these immigrants don't even know that the sign up was 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
They might, all your friends are playing basketball? Okay, so where do I sign up? Oh, sorry, sign-ups were 2 or 3 months ago. Oh, I didn't know that was so. Or, I mean, it's more simple than that. Like, I can't afford to pay for, these extras, both of us. But households with, I mean, it's on both sides, but those kind of factors all kind of affect your question about why is this there's tons of these 6'3", 240-pound kids around in the valley. Why aren't they all just? Well, that has something to do with it.
We kind of started talking about this briefly, and I don't have a theory. I just have questions about this because it's so new. But with the way NIL has infused collegiate sports with money and opportunity, you're starting to see it. Like, for instance, there are several facilities, local facilities, here in my town, indoor, nice, professional, that are 100% dedicated to developing general athleticism for your kids, so speed, strength. That was just absolutely not a thing for me as a kid. Those places did not, there was absolutely no market for it. But today, parents are willing. If your 8-year-old's not getting private lessons somewhere, he's not going to compete. I mean, that's kind of the stigma, right? And I'm pushing back on that a hair. Maybe my kids won't compete. Maybe they'll get passed over. I have no idea. But that's the thing, is that if you're not, they throw the term around, pay to play, and it's not necessarily just for this specific team, man. If you can't throw money at your kid, and the amount of money that I've thrown at my 4 kids that are only playing travel baseball and flag football, and a little volleyball, my daughter playing some volleyball. But the amount of money that we've already invested in it, it's like, at this, my oldest is 12. You can have your scholarship. I could pay for her college. Like, it's not.
The joke is spending $100,000 to get an $80,000 scholarship.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and we'll if we are trying to keep up with. I mean, you either take it upon yourself and develop the training programs for yourself, and you go and you self-initiate this stuff, or you drop your kids off at some ritzy facility 3 or 4 times a week and say, here's a bunch of money, turn my kid into an athlete. And then the kid grows up and decides you don't want to play sports. And you go, shucks.
So, I mean,
whoops.
My kids.
Now I'm paying for college and
therapy.
I don't know.
It really is like what your motivation. Like, my motivation really was, I wanted my kids to have like a community, like some kind of identity in high school. Like, but we're not musical. So that we're not really artsy in our family. Either side, mine or my wife's. And so it was kind of really the motivation. One of the main motivations was, what are kids? What's their identity, or what community are they going to belong to in like high school, with friends and stuff? And then we found, and then as we talked to more people who were ahead of us or had kids older, we find out that in general, a lot of these kids in sports, lots of times sports take this like idle time away from the kids. And I don't want it to make it sound like they're just busy, but really they're just busy so that less idle time to get, I guess, in trouble. They kind of had to structure their day and their time, and their efforts and their energy into the kind of the structure so that it didn't allow them to wander and good or bad, get in trouble or whatever. But and so it was kind of, my wife and I realized that, and that would be a group of friends that they can hang out with and they're going to be close with because they spend so much time with. And lots of times we're seeing these kids, they're really good kids and get good grades or whatever. But it was, there's a motivating factor for us to like, okay, but our kids got to be on the team and got to make the team. And so we better make sure that we get them, into a process where they can make the team, for example. Like, I keep talking about basketball, but because it's a good example is like in basketball, especially the 6A school, it's 5 spots for, 2,500 kids. Yeah. But let's say half of those are male or girls so you got 1,200, 1,500 kids competing for 5 spots to play. Yeah. So it was like, okay, well then we better be one of those 5 kids. What are we going to do? I remember when my kids were like in 8th grade, for example, and I'd have a parent come up to me and say, hey, my son decided he wants to be on the basketball team next year in high school. What should we do? And really, it was like, man, you're so far behind at this point. If your kid hasn't been playing, there's really impossible for your kid to be. Your kid has really no chance to be at this point.
It's funny you brought that up. When I was 12, I quit playing ball. When I was 12, my parents split up, and I quit playing baseball, and I just never got back into it. And I remember walking past the high school in 10th grade. I remember walking past the field, and they were in the middle of a game. It was right after school, and I went, man, it'd be really cool to play baseball for high school. And I remember sitting there being like, no way, man. Yeah. There's no way I'm going to make the baseball team. So anyway, it's challenging, but I think about that sometimes, and sometimes I go to a place where I'm like, man, is there more we could do to help? There's a lot of kids, I think, that aren't. There's a lot of athletes, I'll say, that aren't playing. Yeah. And but that's a big social issue that I don't know how to wrap my arms around it or yet.
It's really common. Like, so we played in a really tough region. America Fork, Sky Ridge, Lone Peak, but at the time Pleasant Grove and Corner Canyon. Yeah. And it was sad for me lots of times when we'd play like a and nothing against them, but like a Granger or a Hunter or something like that. Or
those dudes were all in my district when I was a kid.
I would see so many kids when we, like, for example, football or basketball. I would see so many raw, athletic kids, and I would sit there many times and be like, man, that kid could be so much, like if he just had more training. That kid has a lot of potential, but of course all the exposure and the big games were all like in our region, or I mean, not just in our region, but there was something there is definitely something socioeconomic happening that gives kids more advantage at these more affluent schools. Putting your finger on exactly, it just, there's a lot of factors that that are involved with what have to do with that, and it's probably cumulative of all these tons of little things that happen.
I'm not suggesting to solve that question or even answer it. Like
it's definitely a good thing to look into. I think.
Well, and I think that's the other thing is you can't. There's plenty of amazing athletes out there that you can't force to go play a sport. Passion and drive and genetics and desire and opportunity and coaching and training, all those things go into it. Yeah. And you're kind of rolling the dice going, hope it works. Yeah. For me, it's really like if my kids want to play a sport in high school, if they have a chance, if they want to try out, I'll feel like I was successful. Yeah. But there it again, like.
But at a young age, they don't know that. So it's almost like as a parent, you're gonna, just trust me at 3rd grade. let's give you a shot so that when you're old enough, in 8th grade, you can have the option to.
Yeah.
You can say, okay, now I kind of know a little bit about myself and I can make decisions and stuff. Yeah, I do want to play, but I think what I've seen a lot of parents do is like, I'm just going to leave it up to Billy. If he doesn't want to practice in 3rd grade, then he doesn't want to practice. Which, go ahead.
Okay, because my social media is inundated with experts saying if it isn't your kid's passion, if you got to push your kid, he ain't it type thing, right? If you gotta tell your kid to go outside and work, he doesn't have it. And I'm like, I just talked to someone last week that said, yeah, I had to push my kids.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like it's my responsibility to help my kid. My kid is never going to fall in love with a sport if he can't taste a little bit of success. And how is he going to taste a little bit of success? Well, we got to go work.
Yeah.
And I got to teach him how to compete at a level where he can win a moment. I'm not saying he's got to go win every single game, but he's got to win a moment. He's got to freaking hit a home run or drive a ball or strike somebody out or hit a 3-point shot. Whatever it is, he's got to taste this stuff a little bit at a young age to finally go, oh, yeah, I've got a real passion for this.
Yeah.
Right. And at some point, I think they probably have to get in the driver's seat of their development. But I don't think it's in 3rd grade.
Right. Right. I mean, if you just leave it up to any 3rd grader or 4th grader or whatever, we're going to go practice, so we got to do this. It's going to be very common for them. Like I'd rather go and play video games.
Yep. I'd rather go to the pool.
Yeah, I'd rather go to the pool. And I'm not saying that's not important, but I'm saying as a parent, I feel, should push them because you know better. Like, and I'm not saying sports is better, but I know that I want them to have options so that when they can decide, those doors aren't closed. Yeah. So I want to keep those doors open so that they can decide. Like even my daughter, when I say soccer or basketball, it was like, okay, now you really have an option. You can decide for yourself now because you're old enough. But I think if you get, what 3rd grader is gonna want to go practice for 2 hours instead of going to the pool?
Yeah.
Or play video games.
Yeah, none of them.
Or practice their piano. It's just like practicing your piano. It's like, as parents, we know that having a musical skill and knowing how to play an instrument is important. It would be something that you can enjoy and can benefit your life. But what 5-year-old or 6-year-old or 7-year-old or whatever age it is going to want to sacrifice to practice the piano every day or whatever. But that's why parents, that's why you feel like, no, you're going to need to practice so that, but then when they're at whatever age you decide is old enough, they can say, no, I don't want to play the piano anymore. And then you're like, okay, I trust that you are smart enough and mature enough to make that decision, and then you can let it go.
Yeah. So were you able to expose Noah to like some professional coaching and training and stuff, or was it all self-driven?
So, I always talk to I read that Malcolm Gladwell book, Outliers.
I think that screwed up a lot of people.
Yeah. But I read it.
Sorry, Malcolm.
And a lot of it's been debunked. The 10,000 hours thing has been debunked. Yeah. But the one thing that has not been debunked and is still scientifically backed is the cumulative effect of the relative age effect, I think is what he called it. Mm-hmm. Did you read the book?
Yeah, but it was a few years ago.
Remember the part when he talks about the older kids making the soccer team?
Yeah, I don't like this because all my kids are the youngest kids on their team.
Right. And yes. But this part has not been debunked where the advantages that those older kids get because let's say the 3rd grade competitive team, comp team or whatever you want to call it. You're going to get better coaching, more games. I mean, at a high level, higher level games, better coaching, and you're playing with better kids in general, in theory. Well, guess who's going to make the 4th grade competitive
Yes.
team.
Yeah.
Those kids, because they had better coaching, higher level games, with the cumulative effect. Now, when you get to high school, is all that advantage of the better coaching, playing at a higher level with better teammates. For him, in basketball was now when he was in ninth grade and he had been playing up all these years, starting on the varsity teams, which Taylor also did, wasn't that big a jump because you've already been playing lots of times with these JV kids, the kids that were older, or playing at a higher level, your age group or one age group higher, was the equivalent of like a JV or varsity player. So the jump wasn't that big.
Right.
And starting so my son Noah and Taylor, 7th grade in the summers, they were already playing on their high school JV team, summer teams. Like Noah, we were talking about, he's been to Spokane. We had some family go to Spokane this weekend, and he was like, "Oh, I've been to Spokane." We're like, my wife was like, "When? When did you go to Spokane?" And he said, "Remember in 7th grade when I traveled with the high school team to the Gonzaga basketball camp where I played with the JV team?" But he traveled with the JV and varsity team to this summer tournament and camp at Gonzaga the summer between the 7th and 8th grade team. Grade. He was smaller and more frail than the high school kids, but skill-wise, he was able to play like on the JV team.
Yeah.
So I keep going back to the skill thing, but yeah, we had a lot of trainers growing up, where me being the first one, but then just the time in the gym was just like becoming like, with work and everything else, was like, man, it is easier to drop them off at a specially, a trainer and have my wife go back and pick them up later. Was getting to a point where, and it was getting above my grade level too.
Yeah.
But going back to Malcolm Gladwell's book, I think it's a really common point right now too with kids, is this age thing about like holdbacks and dealing with should I or should I not, and it's like going through it with all my kids. It's a constant topic of discussion with parents up to 8th grade, because you're like, okay, am I going to hold my kid back? Am I going to hold my kid back? And the pros and cons of that, and that's why I brought up Malcolm Gladwell's book. He talks about that it definitely is an advantage to do that, but lots of parents can argue about it.
Locally here in baseball, you can be, the ages, and I don't even know how they work, but essentially you can be a 4th grader. You can be you can be a young 5th grader and play with the 4th graders, play 10U baseball, but you can still, like if you were born whatever. So my son's 10, there are certain 11-year-olds that can play 10U baseball. And when you see those kids, oftentimes you're like, man, you got a whole, like a 1 year, one additional year of baseball to a 10-year-old, that is massive.
Yeah.
And you see it. You see it in size and strength, especially when they're kind of knocking on those, well, not at 12, but next year they're knocking on the puberty years. Yeah. And all of a sudden those boys grow up. My little boy, who is 70 pounds and I don't know, 4'9", he played against a 5'10", 185 pound freaking man who was apparently 10, whatever. He had a birth certificate that said I am 10. And he was big and strong, and he threw the ball real hard. Anyway, blah blah blah. You see it, and I don't think we're not considering doing the holdback thing, but there are a lot of parents that do it, and golly, I don't know whether or not it works. What I would love is for my child to just decide he was a dog and figure out a way to compete at 17 with the best.
That would be ideal.
And just carry on with his life. But
we spent many hours talking to parents all the time, because I've done both. I've had kids that aren't and kids that are, And I mean, I see both sides. But one thing I would tell parents a lot was, I've never met a parent or a kid that did hold back. I never met one that regretted it. Never. Then I've met many parents when it was too late in high school that regretted it, not doing it. So I've never met a parent that did it and regretted it. And then I would also say it's kind of a paradigm shift in your head, because some people see it as giving your kid an advantage, but it's so rampant and so common. It's really interesting. I like to phrase it as you're leveling the playing field.
Yeah, it's an equalization.
Yeah,
tactic.
so your kid is not at a disadvantage, because now you're saying that's not, all these other kids that have it, that's not an advantage.
Yeah.
So now we're really on a level playing field. Because it's so rampant, if you don't, many times it's your kid is at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So instead of thinking of it as like maybe just shifting the thinking of, I'm not giving my kid an advantage.
There's a negative social dogma stereotype to folks that hold their kid back. There just is.
By who? By
all the people who aren't willing to hold their kids back.
That's where it comes. That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
And I think part of the regret, lots of times.
Sure.
Because like these, in my experience, college coaches are paid to win.
Yeah.
And for example, I've done it once with one of my kids, but I did it before even kindergarten. I didn't do it like in 8th grade or whatever. I did it before kindergarten. I just started them in kindergarten 1 year later.
Yeah.
But college coaches, it wasn't really this way, but I thought about it later. Was college coaches, they're paid to win.
Yeah.
So the fact on the recruiting thing, lots of times it's like, okay, it's just like, I want a kid on my team that can help my team win, for me to keep my job, to make money, to pay for my family. It's like kind of that. So it's like they're gonna lots of times take the kids that. So I don't think that age really comes, the 1 year especially, really comes to effect with recruiting. I don't think it's just like, man, can this kid help me win games to keep my job? And lots of times it's
What's challenging for me is I've been like, is my kid gonna be the very best version of himself? Like my son will graduate when he's 17.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how can I expect him to be the biggest, fastest, and strongest version of himself when he's 17 years old? He's like barely, he's barely a man. That extra year, that extra year can go a long way. And that's interesting. Yeah. My wife's never gonna sign off on that, so.
A lot of wives it's easier to sign off on before kindergarten.
Yeah.
I mean, so many parents I've run into is like, man, I want to, but he's been with his friends. It'll change his friend group and all this stuff. Is like, okay, I mean, I get it, but like, I'm glad we did it before even kindergarten. Then he was just on that track.
Did you do it with Noah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, okay, great. Good transition. How's he doing? How's he enjoying BYU?
He loves it.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Is he junior now?
No,
Sophomore.
he'll be a sophomore.
Okay.
He will be a sophomore next year.
Okay.
He's doing great. The culture, if you look at it, BYU, especially losing Jay Hill, the defensive coordinator this year, and in today's market with the transfer portal and NIL and everything, it's really unheard of the amount of kids that BYU was able to keep from going into the transfer. Well, every school's going to lose some kids due to playing time.
Yeah.
But a lot of these big programs are losing kids who had a lot of playing time but are going for the bigger money or the bigger school or starters. And it's amazing that BYU really didn't lose anything as far as transfer portal kids in that situation, which is kind of unheard of. And I think it speaks a lot to the culture and coaching staff that Kalani's been able to instill at BYU. So he says they work hard and they bust their butts, and every year he's been there, the workouts get harder and harder, which I'm glad to hear, because you're always afraid that they're gonna rest on their laurels.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we're doing something right. Let's just keep doing that.
Yeah.
But according to my son, his perspective, they're ramping it up every year. It's just harder and harder and harder. And he says it. I mean, it's very, very noticeable that it's harder. That it is harder.
Yeah.
So, I'm as long as they're not dying or whatever. To me, it's like, okay, just keep doing. Like,
just push them.
Keep pushing them.
Push them as hard as you can. And
Yeah.
take it back 1 degree before death.
Yeah. And then maybe the games are that much easier from the workouts. Maybe why they're getting some success. But and he's told me that some players that have come in, every player that has come in from other schools, they've all said like, this is way harder than wherever we came from.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they want to keep competing.
Yeah.
They've gone. What have they gone? Like 23-3 or something like that in the
like
last
that.
3
Yeah.
years or 2 years.
They're doing really well.
Doing really well. So you in '94 you played with Kalani. You were a linebacker.
Yep, a linebacker. He and I were roommates when we travel.
Really?
Yeah. In fact, when he offered, so we've known each other for a long time. We were roommates when we travel. So the joke was, because he offered Noah as a freshman.
Yeah.
The joke was with a lot of our mutual friends that were on the team and in the Polynesian community. Everybody was saying, "Man, you must have some dirt on Kalani or something." That he's, for this early offer or whatever was the joke. But no, Kalani was great, and we still talk when we see each other, and he's been a really good influence on Noah.
Yeah. Did Noah did he get any? Was he offered by other schools or was he pretty?
He was offered by like Air Force, San Diego State, Yale. Noah's a good student. He's in the finance program now at BYU, and then all the Utah schools. But I think lots of times you're recruiting. What do you call it? Rating, rating. A lot of it is based on how many offers you have, but also many schools would come to his high school coach and to meet with even Noah and stuff and say like, but find out and ask, are you a mission kid and how strongly are you committed? Do we even have a chance? And he was always like, I am a mission kid, and I'm
super committed.
I'm super committed to BYU. Yeah. So I think we missed out on some offers that would have made him a high recruit, but it doesn't even matter because he would have still come to BYU. Yeah. So he's where he's always wanted to be, no matter what. And it's been great. He's had early playing time.
Yeah.
And so we can't be nothing to complain about on our end.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Was Kalani, was he a good dancer in college?
I think he was.
When did he start dancing? That's the question.
I
have dreams. Yeah. I'm gonna say this publicly. I have dreams of everyone's like, I was like, maybe I'm meeting Pete. It's fun. Maybe I'll meet Kalani. I was like, I want to meet him. I want to dance. I want to dance on the field.
Are you a dancer?
No. Oh. Heavens no. I'll figure it out. I'm gonna dance on the field with Kalani. That's what I'm gonna do.
I don't remember him dancing much, but I'm sure he was at the dance clubs that were there back in the day. But I don't remember anything specific about his dancing.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's been great, and we trust him a lot with our son.
Sure.
So
that's cool.
We can't complain about it. But it's been, it was quite a journey, as watching all my kids going through, but navigating the politics and the situational things about schools. And a quick story about it was, so he's playing on a high level basketball, the highest top club team in growing up before high school. And so they all are saying, and this is back in the 2017, 2018, 2019, when Lone Peak was really good at basketball. So at this point, all the kids on his AAU team were like, let's all go to Lone Peak. We were all Utah County, Northern Utah County kids. And so everybody's like, let's go to Lone Peak. So everybody was like, let's go to Lone Peak. Let's go. Yeah. And then I was like, no, we're going to American Fork. We're going to American Fork. And we live 3 minutes from Lone Peak. And we live like 2 minutes from it. We live right by the Timpanogos Temple. Yeah. So it's just really, like, we could really go to either school. And it drove a lot of his friends were like, what? You guys live so close. We're all willing to drive to Lone Peak, but you're going to go to American Fork? And like, yeah, we're going to go to American Fork. It was me. But I already seen kind of the situation of like, plus, like I said, the American Fork coach at the time was already playing him on the JV team as a 7th grader. So I'm like, we're in a good situation here, you know. And then in 8th grade, it was like traveling with the high school team and playing. And so to me, it was like, I'm not gonna take a chance and go in there where I'm in good shoes here with Noah, and we live, you know, this is our boundaries, and so, and I knew the coach, and so it was strategically a good decision for us to stay at American Fork. Well, the coach got fired right before Noah's 9th grade year.
The American Fork coach.
American Fork basketball coach that had been playing him.
Yeah.
And so this new coach comes in that doesn't know Noah, that we have no history on, and we're going to basically have to start at zero. And he just knows this. He's a ninth, you know, he's just this freshman. Yeah. So there was lots of, you know, drives where I'm sitting in the car, I'm like, what am I going to do here? Yeah. Like, man, we had it all set up. Everything was going to be perfect with relationships and everything. But this new coach doesn't even know him, all these years of work. But luckily, the coach was able to see very quickly, like that summer, like, oh. And so within a few tournaments, Noah started playing with the freshman team, like in the summer. He just had everybody go to their age group. But then real quickly, he was with the varsity team, and the rest is history, and that he had guts enough to start a freshman. You know, there's going to be backlash. You're a brand new coach at a new high school, at a big high school, and to not care about the politics or the drama that it was going to cause or whatever. And we really are grateful that the coach was like, I'm going to play the 5 best kids that I feel are going to give us the best chance. And he was, you know, to start a freshman was, well, even for my daughter too, Taylor, it requires a coach that's is willing to just saying, you know, this is what I believe in and this is what I'm going to do, even though you're going to get pushback from a lot of parents, you know, and so it was a good choice for us. But trying to figure out all that can keep you up at night. Yeah. But it was all the work that we put in before that point
to get there,
to even be in the position for the coach to be deciding, like, should I play a freshman? Should I start a freshman? Not even play, but start a freshman. Right. But you got to, as a parent and a player, you got to put those coaches in a position that they can defend playing, you know, at a young age, a kid like that. So, yeah, it takes a lot of investment to be in that situation.
Okay, well, this has been awesome.
Yeah, well,
it's been great.
Hopefully,
it's fun. Yeah, there was yeah, for sure. There was a little bit of a different theme. We'll let the listeners figure it out. But yeah, there's a little bit of a different theme to this one. It was cool. What the last question I really like?
Something we didn't cover.
No, I just really like it. I just think, you know, if you're talking to parents that have young kids, like, sum it up. What's the most important thing that we can do with our young kids right now to set them on the best track?
This might be too much, but really, there's no magic drill or no magic tool the main thing that I believe that gives your kid an advantage or can help your kid is really it's the time spent in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what sport, is just that's irreplaceable. Other than, I mean, unless you're like a LeBron James or
Sure.
something like that, the only other answer other than that is just time spent. There's no trainer or drill or camp or anything that's gonna. It's all just it's basically the hours in the gym are what gonna give your kid the best chance to be successful. I think as much as they want to be.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's awesome. I mean, we can just end on that, but I think a lot of kids quit before they find their stride.
Yeah.
You know, or their you know, their athletic peak or whatever.
Can I also just
Yeah,
add
of course,
this part? Yeah. I run into so many parents. Just I'm maybe repeating myself, but I've run into so many parents who, like 9th grade or 10th grade, they say, "Man, I wish I would have pushed Johnny or Susie at a younger age because now they want to be on the team, or now they want to do this, or now they want to have more playing time, now they want to be a starter or whatever." But it's like, well, basically it's too late at that point.
Yeah.
You have to realize that's coming at an early age, so that you have those options later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it's the purpose of this whole thing, man. It takes a wise parent, I think, to navigate it from a young age and into high school. And my parents were plenty wise. Sports were not a priority for them, and so as I'm wrestling through all this stuff with my own kids, I'm like, man, I think some of the best resources out there are the parents of the kids that have actually played at a high level. And so it's been, like I told you earlier, it's, you know, we've done a few of these interviews so far, and every single one of them has been such a positive experience for me.
Yeah, for sure.
And this one too. This one's been absolutely wonderful. So I appreciate you taking the time to come and chat with me.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It was good talking to you.
You bet.